Okay, so I know I've said multiple times on the channel that I really don't like the way 4-cylinders sound, and that I was going to leave the exhaust completely stock on the Miata. If anything, I would like delete the catalytic converter just so I can keep the car quiet. I can rip it anytime I want without drawing attention, but to be honest, it's really boring. The car's slow, even flat out you're going nowhere, and it's just genuinely really boring to drive sometimes if you're not taking turns. So to fix that, I got bored and I ordered a muffler, and I'm going to do my own custom exhaust, which should be just a touch louder than like stock. It shouldn't be ricey, or at least I'm not hoping. You never know with Miatas and 4-cylinders in general, but I'm going to give it a shot, and I'll just start off by going over the muffler I picked up. Now this is a thrust turbo muffler, which the turbo doesn't mean it's for like turbo cars or anything. It's just the style of like the internals for the muffler, which these should be just a touch louder than stock. It's not going to be obnoxious or anything, and it should give it a nice rich deep tone, which is my main concern. I do not want any rasp or any of that. I just want just a slightly louder deep tone, not very loud, so I can still get away with ripping wherever, which I'm actually about to weld the LSD in this car probably this weekend, hopefully, so that video should be out. And then after that, the car should rip. I tried to do it, and it just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't with the LSD, so I'm just going to weld it. Why not? But I'm seriously sitting out in the rain, so I'm going to pull the car in, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do next so I can get started installing this muffler. Okay, so I pulled the car in, which I was originally going to work out in the carport because I thought the rear section of the exhaust was removable, but it turns out there is no like rear section. It's just pretty much one big piece. So I'm just going to use the mechanic pit, go under there and pull the exhaust off. I'll have to do all the welding sort of outside the car, but that's no big deal. So I'm just going to go ahead and start doing that. Just get underway. I'm ready to hear how this car sounds. Alright, so I removed the exhaust, which I didn't really film just because it's hard to get shots into the car. It gets really repetitive, and to be honest, I'm just trying to get to the real work of cutting and welding up this exhaust, which I'll just quickly go over. It's a real simple job, pretty much cut and splice in a new muffler. So here is the stock exhaust next to the new muffler, which the old muffler is extremely heavy. I can already tell it's really bulky, and if you put this one up to it, it's hard for me to line up just with one hand, but it lines up perfect with the inlet and the outlet of the stock exhaust, which pretty much all I have to do is just chop it there, and just weld it in, which the inlet and outlet of the new muffler is 2 inches, and the stock exhaust is like 1 inch and 7/8, I believe, so it should slide just in there and overlap, which makes welding really easy. And it should be a real simple job, which will be a nice change of pace. I'm used to working on the E36, which I've redone that whole exhaust probably 5 or 6 times because I'm really picky, which is always a pain in the ass. It's dual exhaust, so you have to do everything twice, and it's really hard to line stuff up. So this is going to be nice just to be able to cut it, weld it, and be done. It's simple. It should make the car sound good, or at least I'm hoping. But all that's left for me to do is just shut my mouth and actually start working. So let's get to it. Alright, so it's the next day. I got done real late last night and I had to be at work at 6 in the morning, so I just called it quits. But I finished everything up. It was a lot harder than I was expecting. It was really a complete pain in the ass. The inner diameter of the piping, the stock piping, was a lot thinner than that of the muffler. I guess just because it's the bends. So I ended up having to fill a gap like this big all the way around with the welder. It was just a pain in the ass to do. The welds aren't the best, but they're airtight. It should work. So I'll just go and let you all see my work. It's not the best. Now, as far as looks and everything, nothing's changed, which that was my main priority when doing this, was just to have the stock exit to come out the exact same place, which is in the center, it's level, exactly how I want it, so I'm pretty content with that. Now, if I can get under the car, I can show you the muffler just so you can all see what it looks like. Now, the welds, they're not the prettiest, but they're airtight, which is all I care about, but I'm really not happy with them, to be perfectly honest. I'm probably going to take the grinder down to them and just smooth them out and probably even re-weld it if I have to. But for the time, it'll work and I'm pretty happy with it. It looks stock. It's not going to draw any attention or anything. But now we'll take it down the road so we can hear how it sounds, which, to be perfectly honest, it sounds pretty much identical to how it did before, stock, which kind of sucks. But what I'm going to do is just cut the muffler open on the top, peel it over, and then just remove a lot of the deadening out just to louden it up, and then put it back and weld it so it's completely airtight again. It should make it a bit louder, but I figured I would just leave it exactly how it is now in case any of you out there want to do this, just so you know how it'll sound, which is alright. I think it'll sound good once it's louder, but pretty much you can't even hear it over the just normal winding of the engine. But now that's enough talking. We'll take it out there, see how it sounds. Hopefully you all like it, hopefully I like it, and it'll be a good day. Well, that's the exhaust, which I'm not particularly that happy with it. It is really raspy and everything, even with the thick muffler and all the deadening. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. And there's also an exhaust lead, which is just behind the catalytic converter. One of the bolts broke, and I used a smaller one just as a temporary fix, and the gasket was real bad. So there's a little exhaust leak just at certain RPMs. And I'm just not really content with it overall. It doesn't particularly sound good. You can't even hear it inside the car over just motor and the cold air intake. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have to figure out something, but let me know what you all think. And I'm definitely about to weld this diff. The LSD is absolute garbage. It just doesn't work for anything. It's miserable. I can't wait to be done with it. But that's pretty much about it. I'm probably gonna shift focus back to the E36. I just sort of go back and forth, and I just started a new job, so I've been real busy, which is why I haven't really put out videos lately. So I'm doing that, but it also means, more money for car parts, so I can do bigger, better things and get the turbo build just going. I'm just so ready to get that done. But that's about it. Let me know what you all think, if you like it, if you don't. I know a lot of you are gonna hate on this, which I fully support. The exhaust does not sound that good. But as always, until then.